Hi, and welcome to Rotten to the Lore. Today, we're going to go back in time to discuss Rise of the Floodborn and what that brought us, which was a lot. And then we're going to discuss Worlds, because Worlds is coming up this weekend. I'm Alex the Queer, or Alex.
And I'm Aggro Baby, or Cece. And let's jump into the story behind Rise of the Floodborn. When we last left the world of Lorcana, a new era had just begun. A fresh generation of Illumineers had stepped into the light. Most notably, a curious and determined trio. Shanzay, Martin, and Venturo. And of course, right by their side was you, our newest Illumineer, whose journey through this magical realm was only just beginning. There was so much work to be done, so our Illumineers set immediately to task. Shanzay, taking a first bold step, summoned a glimmer of the powerful and heroic Hercules, calling forth his strength to stand as a beacon of courage for the new era. United in their purpose, the Illumineers next summoned a cheerful glimmer of Mickey Mouse, who would take his place as a gracious guide and guardian, welcoming all who entered the hallowed halls of the Great Illuminary, the vast repository where all stories are preserved and woven together. As the Illumineers continued their work, they called upon enchanted magic brooms, tirelessly sweeping and caring for the Illuminary's endless corridors and chambers, ensuring the realm remained as pristine as the stories it housed. But beneath the surface of this hopeful beginning, the shadows were stirring. Another Mickey Glimmer was summoned, a dream-born one called Detective. Mickey was sharp-eyed and ever watchful, and quickly began to uncover subtle signs of disturbance. Strands of seaweed soaked in ink began appearing mysteriously throughout the halls. There was something ancient, something unsettling, that was moving within the foundations of the Illuminary. Everyone set out to discover what it was. Basil, the brilliant sleuth known as the Perceptive Investigator, was summoned to join the inquiry, lending his intellect to uncover the source of this creeping darkness. As the investigation continued to unfold, Venturo delved deeper into the arcane lore of the Illuminary by studying powerful and mysterious artifacts. In his quest, he unearthed relics such as the Sumerian talisman and Scrooge McDuck's lucky dime, piecing together their significance in the broader tapestry of lore. Meanwhile, Martin made a startling discovery of his own. Deep within a hidden chamber, he found a lore book, encrusted with barnacles, wrapped in seaweed, and tangled in dark, ink-like tendrils. As he reached for it, the book sprang to life, playing the faint notes of a melody, unfinished and haunting. A gifted musician, Martin used his guitar-shaped inkcaster instinctively, and before he knew it, he had picked up the melody and completed the song. The lore book shuddered in response, and suddenly it burst open. From its pages erupted a torrent of dark ink, which surged like a tidal wave through the corridors of the Great Illuminary. The flood swept into the chamber where Basil and Venturo were examining the talisman. Caught in the ink's magical grip, Basil underwent a mysterious transformation. becoming more powerful, an alternate glimmer of himself, to be known henceforth as the Great Mouse Detective. As wings of insight spread wide, he soared away to escape the rising flood. Venturo also found himself trapped inside the tide, struggling to resist the consuming current. Through the chaos, he saw Martin reaching, recklessly, for King Triton's trident, perhaps hoping to wield its might against the darkness. Realizing the danger, though, Martin shook free from the lure of the weapon and instead turned to save his friend. With a last burst of effort, he reached Venturo and pulled him from the ink's grasp. The floodwaters, black as midnight, surged down into the Inklands, altering the very fabric of Lorcana. From this event, a new type of glimmer was born, Floodborn. Glimmers transformed by the power of this ink flood, becoming stronger, bolder, and stranger than ever before. One such transformation was that of Cinderella. Once a delicate and hopeful dreamer, she rose from the flood as Cinderella Stouthearted, a warrior forged in adversity. No longer waiting to be rescued, she became her own savior, clad in armor and wielding fierce determination. Other glimmers, too, felt the change. Belle reformed as a skilled archer, balancing Cinderella's knight-like presence with swift precision and cunning. This dynamic duo became an iconic pair, flipping traditional fairy tale roles and defending the Inklands together. In the wake of the flood, questions remained. What had caused this, and why? To find answers, a formal investigation was launched. Chief Bogo, ever commanding and disciplined, took the lead. He rallied other glimmers to his side, Cobra Bubbles, Elsa, Judy Hopps, each playing a role in uncovering the truth. Even Peter Pan, the fearless explorer, was tasked with tracking down the missing lore book, the very one Martin had unlocked, that triggered the flood in the first place. With new mysteries rising from the ink and old legends reshaping themselves, Lorcana's story is only beginning to unfold. And you, Illumineer, are right at the heart of it. So stay strong and vigilant on your quest as our adventures continue in the rise of the Floodborn.
I don't know about y'all, but the flood sure did change some things. Welcome to the segment we like to call What Did This Set Bring? Normally we would go over new keyword abilities, but this set actually didn't bring us any new keyword abilities. And that's okay, because it was building off of Chapter 1's keyword abilities, and there were so many in that. In fact, you can go back to our previous video, episode 2, and see all of the new abilities that Chapter 1 brought us. But this chapter did bring us some very important cards and some important play interactions. These are just some of the ones that are there. First, as Cece talked about, this flood brought us Floodborn characters that look a bit different than your average characters. In Disney Lorcana, there are Storyborn, Dreamborn, and Floodborn characters. Floodborn is a reimagination of these types of characters. This Cinderella card is one of my favorites in the game. Not only does the art look different, but these are amazingly powerful characters. In fact, even to this day, when playing Cinderella, it's hard to remove her. But as you can see, Floodborn characters have personality of their own, and oftentimes have a shift mechanic to be able to shift on top of another character with the same name. These types of characters are still played to this day in Disney Lorcana and remain some of the most powerful in the game. Bloodborne also brought us Steel
direct damage cards. Things like Strength of a Raging Fire and Let the Storm Rage On are staples in steel decks that are currently dominating the meta. The reason that these two cards play such an integral role is because they are songs that can be sung by a character with costs 3 or less in this case to do direct damage. Let the Storm Rage On reads, deal 2 damage to chosen character. Draw a card. This is draw advantage, and it sometimes gets rid of characters, especially back in the set 2 meta. Strength of a Raging Fire is an insanely powerful card. It reads, deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of characters you have in play. This being a singable direct damage card, as well as being an inkable card, increases its utility and versatility in the game. These steel staples are one of the many things that Rise of the Floodborn brought us in this set. And finally, this set brought us the Bounce package. Cards like Rabbit and Goat are considered to be a part of this package, even though they themselves aren't doing the bouncing. But here's why. When the Goat enters play or leaves play, its player gets 1 lore. Inversely, the Rabbit, every time it enters or leaves play, gets to draw you a card. Why that matters is because the Bounce package allows you to remove a player or character from play and then potentially replay it for advantage in the future. So, what this could look like is on turn 4, you played a rabbit. You get to draw a card because it entered play. Then, on the next turn, you could play a snake after questing with the rabbit. Because the snake reads, when you play this character, banish her or return chosen character of yours to your hand, you have to bounce a character back to hand, which means Rabbit comes back to hand, and then that triggers the ability to allow you to draw a card. That means that you likely got at least 2 cards off of this Rabbit coming into play and leaving play, and also a lore. This is a very powerful mechanic that some decks use to win the game with instant lore. Let's say, this same example, the Goat comes into play. Its player gains a lore. The next turn, the Goat quests for 1. And then you play the Madam Min Fox, which reads, when you play this character, banish her or return another chosen character of yours to your hand. You would play her just like you do the snake, pick back up the Goat, bouncing it to hand, and you gain a 3rd lore. This is insanely powerful, and many decks are still using this mechanic, because this mechanic allows you to remove things from play with benefit. That's just some of what this chapter brought us. Now, let's talk a little bit about Worlds.
Can you believe that Worlds is in 2 days? I feel like I've been waiting for this forever. I mean, even though obviously I'm not participating, I've been on the edge of my seat waiting for this for so long.
Oh yeah, I think most of the Lorcana community has also been like, "What is Worlds?" Because we're all very excited for the first into the first DLC season.
Yeah, what are you the most excited about?
Besides just like the good gameplay and getting to see people who like I'm friends with who called and rooting for them, I think I'm really excited to see how the format of Worlds changes the meta
Same.
because it is just so different.
Same. When I heard about it, I've been somebody who has for a really long time been sort of touting a different way of measuring the greatest of the Lorcana, like, right, the world champion. It's kind of a big deal, right? Especially in something that has such an element of chance to it. There's skill for sure, but I love to see the players being pushed out of their comfort zones. A lot of people are, you pick your favorite ink pairings, and as long as the meta allows it, that's pretty much what you play. So pushing people outside of that is pretty cool, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah. the format for Worlds is a triple deck format as well as a super sealed. So I can talk a little bit about triple deck, and that is that basically, not basically, actually, every competitor has to bring 3 different constructed decks that are legal and core constructed, but no deck can overlap an ink color, which means you are going to be using all 6 ink colors, and there are going to be 3 different pairings of those. Where that takes the like average player out of their comfort zone is like you have a lot of people who are like, I'm a Ruby Amethyst player or I am a Steel Song player, and they're put in a position where they now have to play these other decks. And I think that's great. It creates a well-rounded player. It's going to be really interesting because a component to this triple deck competition is that your opponent secretly, just like you will get to secretly, gets to strike one of the decks for you not to get to play. So, for instance, if I brought my favorite deck, my deck that I'm pretty good at because I put in a bunch of reps, and this other deck that I had to use these 2 ink pairs because it just happens to be the 2 colors left. A lot of times, these players who already have a lot of recognition by the community, but also other players who are going to be there are going to be like, oh, yeah, this person, I know that this person only plays Ruby Sapphire. I'm not going to let them play Ruby Sapphire the entire tournament. And that changes the strategy behind how you build your decks and also what ink types you're putting together. Because the other component, and I'm not 100% sure if they get to see the deck list first or if they are going to be like, okay, these are the color pairings of each 3 decks. You get to choose what pairing because, as we know, even decks like Amber Steel have 3 or 4 different variant
Right,
types.
right.
And
I think
so,
ever since like set 4 or 5, you didn't know exactly what kind of deck was being played anymore by what color or what ink colors were being played.
yeah.
No.
And that's something that is really cool, creates a lot of variance, but also changes how you are going to play the game.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it just means that you say you can't play that deck against me. It doesn't say that they have a particular deck that they have to play first or have to play second. And in addition to that, it also interacts differently with the decks that they do or do not pick. A
Right.
lot of people are theorizing that the competitors are going to strike steel, and steel decks are going to be removed from the meta. Um,
Mm,
and I think that that'll happen to some extent. I'm not thinking that it's going to be zero steel,
sure.
just because I don't know that that does a great justice to the game, but I think that we're going to see a meta in ways that we've never seen it before, and see some interactions and players who don't play these type of decks normally, um, that are going to be very cool and unique.
Sure. And if like you're somebody who is famously known, as you were saying, for playing Ruby Sapphire, they're not striking your steel deck, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm really excited about it. I think I've always been talking about different ways that we could evaluate who really truly is the best. One of the things that I pitched just like to friends, not in any kind of real way, but one of the things I would love to see would be a 60 card open deck game. So essentially the idea that you take the luck piece out of it and you actually just only judge who can build the best 60 card deck. Whatever's in your deck, can it answer whatever I want? And then back and forth, right? With no element of chance, just you've got access to all 60 of your cards. I think that would be super cool. And I've been saying that for 6-8 months already. So when I saw that they did the super sealed and this extra, you must play with all the inks, I was like, yeah, that's exactly hitting that same thing. It is making sure that if you're going to be the world champion, the first world champion of Lorcana, that you actually know your way around this entire game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. The super sealed is essentially going to be a bunch of, I think it's 4 packs from 4 sets. Is that
I believe it is 4 packs from Shimmering Skies, Azurite Sea, Arcasia's Island, and Reign of Jafar.
right? And so they will build sealed decks out of that. And that's another skill set within the greater existence of Lorcana. And it's really cool to see them checking all of these sort of boxes in terms of what the world
Yeah.
champion needs to be able to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited to see the format, and I'm excited to see how it impacts people, because we all know a lot of these people do famously play one ink pairing, and what happens to the gameplay at that point. So I'm sure they've been busting their butts trying to practice everything. And I'm super excited to watch
Well,
it play out.
and I like, even though some of them play like one color combination, or maybe they have one specific color that they play in their other decks. Like, these are phenomenal players, but you brought up Super Sealed. Super Sealed, you're making a 50 card deck. And Sealed has so much more chance because it's also about what you pull. It
Right.
is not just about
Anything.
what you desire.
Right.
And so I think that, especially with Super Sealed, it plays on a different type of gameplay, right? Which is that deck building component. But also, cards function different in limited formats than they do in constructed.
Sure.
And so I'm really excited to see the utility that is able to be brought out of some of these cards, especially like Reign of Jafar, for example.
Mhm.
Because this is the set that we're in. Some of this is going to also help to dictate the set champs meta, because
Mhm.
while it isn't the same format, people are going to see different plays and combos that they're like, oh, I didn't even think that
Oh.
would be it. Or, oh, I need to prepare for that actually. And so
Mhm.
I think that we're going to get to watch a good amount. I The other piece of worlds that's like, I'm excited that everyone is doing world watch parties and
Mm.
like very community centric stuff. But I think that we should also talk about the fact that it's because people can't go. And
Mm.
there are a lot of people that did plan on going. I wasn't one of the people going. But I think that it's going to be fun regardless of where we watch it. And I think that Ravensburger has done a good job of being like, hey, let's make this an event. Sorry, we can't be there. Um, but I really wonder what that looks like for community members who do get to go.
Yeah, I was really hoping to be able to attend Worlds. I've been sort of on the road, I guess a Lorcana groupie, maybe. I've been sort of on the road. I've been very, very lucky to be able to attend 4 of the DLCs. One of them happened here in Seattle, so that one was a lot easier. There's this community experience that happens at these events that's just really uplifting and heartwarming. That's where we met at one of those. It's something that was feeding a part of me that I didn't realize needed being fed, and the lack of it and waiting. It's like we got pretty consistent
Yeah.
dopamine hits, right, from these experiences. And then it just sort of stopped. And it has been stopped now for a while. And there was so much speculation and build up with the expectation that we would be able to attend that it was hard. There was mourning that happened throughout the community for those who really intended on being there and were sort of waiting, not booking travel or like not planning things out just because they wanted to be available at that time. So I hope that it doesn't stay this way in the future. I hope that future worlds are able to have spectators.
Mhm.
um, but I also think that as much as it's been an unfortunate feeling, we miss our friends. So there's a lot of friends that I've made in this Lorcana community that now I only really get to see online. Um, I think that feeling will dissipate pretty quickly this weekend once they make the DLC announcement.
Yeah.
Because at least then we'll have something to look forward to. We can start planning again. We can start making not just our plans to get there, but our plans to see our friends there, who's going to go to which ones.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll all just sort of pick up again and we'll find ourselves in the cycle.
Yeah.
And hopefully we won't have a big break like that where we have to go half a year without seeing each other.
Yeah.
And community's been stepping up. We've all around, people have been making larger events, and that's been really cool. And I'm looking forward to watching this weekend. I'll probably watch. I'm probably going to watch at 5 a.m. I'm on the West Coast, so I'll probably be one of those people who's maybe still in bed, but definitely watching the stream. And then I'm excited to go and check out some watch parties and just be in community.
Same. We have some stores here that are also doing some watch parties. I have to figure out some of the specifics because on the West Coast, it does start for us at 5 a.m. And I don't know a shop owner that's like, yeah, I'm going to go to my shop at 5 a.m. because most people aren't getting up to do that. I have no problem being in my bed in my pajamas, just snuggled with a blanket, watching. That sounds great. But like, I I imagine that this is going to be a part of a larger creating community for Lorcana, which is an awesome thing because there are going to be many of us that this is our first experience of Worlds, and we will remember and cherish this. But also, I think so many people are waiting for this DLC announcement. I know I am because like I travel for work and I need to be able to tell my boss, "Hey, I'm available to go these weekends. I'm not. I'm planning on getting, going to compete." Um, and also then you're able to like you said, look forward to seeing different people, getting to talk through things. Like I know our team is going to be like, okay, we're getting Airbnbs. We want to, facilitate a community environment and also get to play test. And also like we want to give the time to this. And so I think that Worlds represents so much happiness, but also represents some logistical importance that we're going to be together experiencing this. And also great, good luck to the competitors. I imagine that they're pretty stoked for this ability.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I don't know about you or what your watch parties are doing, but like my watch parties have talked about that they're going to be doing predictions. And so like people at one of the stores, people who get the closest top 8 will get like in-store credit or get a pack or something.
I love that.
Which is just a great idea because we all have our favorites. We all have the people we're rooting for. I am here for Wonderland to win World, right? Like we are all here going, okay, this is the person that we hope to win, though we're excited for anyone to win, and we want to see how this play changes the game, and just all of the culmination after this first DLC season of what this all has transpired to be. Because I think this got bigger than anyone expected, even Ravensburger, right? And so this is just a special community to be a part of. But yeah.
Fantastic.
Go out, enjoy your Worlds parties, get with community. If you don't have a community that's throwing a Worlds party, hop online. There's going to be so many streamed options. It's going to be a great and awesome time. There are going to be so many announcements, and we have some great announcers. Overall, I'm very excited, and my Saturday and Sunday are booked for sure.
Absolutely. And are right now. Why don't we get back into the starter deck chat and talk some more about Floodborn? All right, so let's get right to it. Unlike in the first chapter, we didn't get 3 for the Rise of the Floodborn. We only got 2 starter decks, but they look pretty good, and I'm excited to dig into them a little bit. This first one is an Amber Sapphire deck. It's featuring the Evil Queen and Gaston, so of course we love that. Our villains running rampant. It's called Tactical Teamwork. In this starter deck, strategic sapphire glimmers like Gaston, intellectual powerhouse, and Judy Hopps, optimistic officer, help you plan ahead and clear the way for teams of determined amber glimmers, like the Queen commanding presence and the 7 dwarves. Together, these inks create formidable partnerships. So that's really exciting, and later on today when Alex and I play, I think they are going to be playing with this deck. I will be playing with this deck, which is featuring Merlin and Tiana, our Amethyst Steel deck. This deck was special because it introduced the bounce package that we got in Rise of the Floodborn, which became pretty much a staple in the game. Alex will talk a little bit about that in the new stuff this set segment. But I'm a little partial. The first deck I ever sleeved up for a tournament was the Tiana Celebrating Princess, and I'm excited to give this deck a whirl. I don't know that I've played much with this deck, but I'm excited to do that later today. This deck is called Might and Magic. In this starter deck, magical amethyst glimmers like Merlin Shapeshifter and Madam Mim Fox keep opponents guessing, while powerful steel glimmers like Tiana, Celebrating Princess, and Kronk, Junior Chipmunk, stand tough or use brute force to overcome the opposition. Together, these inks amplify each other's strengths. Looks like a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to dig into these a little later today.
Wow, those were some cool starter decks, and I remember getting to play those back in set 2, Rise of the Floodborn, and they were a lot of fun. Now, let's talk about homework. Last week, we gave you the homework to comment what was something that keeps you from being more involved in the Disney Lorcana community, and we got some really great responses. One that I want to highlight is from Dawn Marie 2017, where they write, "Love the video. I think what's stopping me from playing is that I took a break from going to League and it seems overwhelming to get back in after so many new things." And I think this is very fair, especially because in the TCG community, a lot of things are going to be ever changing, whether it be the banning of cards like Hiram Flaversham, or the change in meta, or new mechanics and abilities like Vanish, or the addition of locations into the Inklands. It does change how gameplay functions, and that can sometimes feel unobtainable. What I would tell you, Dawn, is that there are many people in the community who are willing to teach you how the mechanisms function. Whenever we think about card interactions and gameplay, sometimes we think very rigidly of this is how it worked in the last set. And while a break can change how it functions, because there are new things that are added, one thing that seems to maintain consistency is that the Lorcana community is generally willing to teach people. And by all means, I completely understand not wanting to ask those questions, but your fear of going back to League because of how overwhelming it is and how anxiety inducing that can be is very valid. And you're not the only one that experiences it. In fact, I even experience it sometimes, where I know how something does function, but I haven't been to that particular league in a couple of weeks because I've gone to a different league, or I had to take time off for work. And then getting back in, it feels like I'm out of routine, especially when there are new things that have happened to the Lorcana gameplay itself. I would encourage you to take a leap of faith a little bit and jump back in. Because even if it's a little bit rugged at first and you aren't sure how things work, one of the best ways to learn these new card interactions or the things that have changed is to be a part of it. And I hope that you'll consider to be a part of the Lorcana community more in the future. Another comment that I want to highlight is from Jordan B 3569. And the thing that Jordan highlights that I think is really important is that it's not that there's something keeping them from being a part of the community, but rather wishing that they had more time. And I feel like a lot of people can get behind this, because whenever we think about the time that we spend doing a hobby, sometimes that time gets away from us and we want to spend more time either practicing our decks or spend time with the cards themselves and also the community. So Jordan, I appreciate you making this comment because you're absolutely right. I wish I had more time. And there are going to be so many people in the community who also wish they could spend more time. And that's just something that you could just bond over with them. Something that I want to talk about a little bit here, outside of these two comments, which highlight very real barriers to getting to play Lorcana to the highest degree that you want, is that sometimes there are also other systemic barriers. Some other people have messaged privately to talk about how whenever they are in a space, particularly as somebody who identifies as female, they feel like the space isn't always meant for them. This person highlighted that whenever they're playing in a competitive tournament, sometimes what happens is they feel singled out or treated like they don't know what they're doing in the TCG space. I find that Disney Lorcana handles these situations significantly better, and the community is a lot more inclusive than some of the other trading card games that I've been around. But that doesn't change that we still, as a community, should be better. When you see someone who is being treated in a particular way that maybe isn't kind or is based on something in their identity or of their identity, we should stand up to say something. We should be able to protect people in our community because people in our community should be treated fairly. At the end of the day, we all want to just play this game together. And if somebody is impeding that space for somebody else to do that, then that needs to become a conversation. I really appreciate the person who sent us this particular comment. While I'm not going to share their name because anonymity is kind of important in this particular situation, I do think that this is something that lots of people in the community are talking about. Even our friends at Enchanted Chatter talk about this all the time on their show on Wednesdays. And this is something that we as a community are already invested in. And it's very clear that other creators are as well. We can make this a very inclusive space. And Ravensburger is also dedicated to do this. They care and they've dedicated resources for people to be invested and involved. As a community, I think in a lot of ways, while there are several different barriers, whether it be some that I've talked about today or others that I haven't talked about, such as the money barrier of being able to play the cards, or even getting the access to a store who gets to run Disney Lorcana, it is something that we should be talking about it as a community. And hopefully, these type of barriers, the more we talk about them, can be eliminated to allow more people to play the game. This week, your homework is simple. It is watch a round of Worlds. I say it like that because not everybody's going to have time to go to a watch party. Though, we suggest that you tune in to the Ravensburger stream, which we will also be restreaming, of the World's Championship. It's going to be a great time, and even if you can't catch the rounds on Saturday or on Sunday this week, you can always catch the reruns later. Because we're going to see fantastic gameplay. And without a doubt, whether the person you want to win or the deck combination that you'd like to see actually wins Worlds, you will be seeing some great gameplay. So, comment what your favorite thing was about Worlds, and we'll see you in just a bit.
All right. I am super excited to try out this deck. I honestly don't know if I've ever actually played with this starter deck, though the mechanics, I think. I've played a bit of steel over the sets. Not a lot of amethyst, or this kind of amethyst. I play a lot of aggro amethyst, but from what I read on the box, this does not feel like it's going to be an aggro situation at all.
Yeah, no. I played the starter deck that Cece's playing in a starter deck tournament back when the set released. That was kind of like the pre-release event, and it was like very clearly the better deck. Like I think everyone who did well at the tournament was playing the purple steel deck. Which was really funny. But in my deck, I have the Queen and Gaston, and the Queen ended up being playable in Steel Song for a while. Even some people still play her. So it's going to be interesting because I don't know that I've played this version of this deck either. So
I feel like in some ways, I'm about to go to Gen Con in a couple months, and they're doing this thing there called Starter Deck Chaos. Which is going to be starter decks from every set, and you just randomly get one, which I'm so intrigued to see how that's going to do.
Yeah, that's wild.
But this feels like a little bit of practice. So, all right. Would you like to cut my deck?
I'll take a half cut.
A half cut.
How would you like your cut?
I will also take a half cut.
Beautiful. Do you want to do high roll?
Sure.
I got a 9.
Okay. I got a 6.
I will go first.
All right. Good luck.
Good luck. Have fun. seeing some of these cards and their art from the set is wild.
Oh, a little nostalgic too.
Very nostalgic. Very much.
Do I keep? I guess I'm going to keep.
Oh, that's terrifying.
I mean, you say that's terrifying, but it might just be silly. I'm just not familiar with this play style. We'll see what happens.
I, on the other hand, will not, in fact, keep. I am going to go back for um, the Gaston actually that Quest for 3 in this particular deck did see play a little bit in some blue steel decks or some sapphire steel decks, which was really cool. For those in the audience, this is what that blue steel card or the blue card looks like. It's a Gaston intellectual powerhouse. He is a 4/4, cost 6, uninkable. This is shiny, so the camera's unhappy. But it shifts for 4. And when you play this character, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and you put one of them into your hand and put the rest on the bottom, which is a really cool scry ability. And it quests for 3, which is the reason people played it so much, because it was very hard to remove. Would you like another cut?
No, I'll tap.
All right. Then starting off, I will ink Grumpy, play Owl, and pass.
Okay, I will draw for turn. I will ink I'm Stuck. I will play Chip and pass.
And what is Chip's stat line?
Chip is a 2/2 with 1 lore.
2/2, 1 lore. Okay. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to ink a Sneezy to play a Gumbo Pot, which has the ability, the best I've ever tasted. I can exert it to remove 1 damage from up to 2 chosen characters.
Ooh.
And then I will quest for 1 to go to 1, and I will pass.
Okay, ready, draw. I will ink. I will ink Chip the Teacup. And I will pay 2 to play Hercules. Hercules is a 2/3 with 1 lore. Will you remind me of that little guy's stat line?
Yeah, the Owl is a 2/2 with 1 lore.
Okay. I am going to quest for 1, going to 1, and pass.
All right. Alrighty. Interesting. Well, I will ink a Doc to play a Fang Crossbow, which has 2 abilities. First is Careful Aim. I can exert it and pay 2 ink for a chosen character to get -2 attack for this turn.
Ew.
The other option is Stay Back, and I can exert to banish this item and banish chosen dragon character.
Ooh.
And on that note, I will pass.
Okay. Ready. Draw. I am going to ink Hey, and I will pay 3 to play the Prince in Bodyguard. The Prince is a 1/3 with 2 lore, and he's a bodyguard, and he has resist +1.
This prince was played in the meta in set 2, like was a necessary card for steel decks.
I played this Prince.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much. And then I'm going to Quest for 2, going to 3, and pass.
Alrighty. I will draw. I'm going to ink Philosocrates. What a hard decision, honestly. The Hercules is a 2/3. That's correct, right? I think my correct option here is to play Hiram and pop my Fang Crossbow to draw 2 cards. It is important to note that this is the card that is on a banned list. You now can't play this card in Core Constructed anymore. But at the time, the mechanic was not, in fact, overpowering. And then
Hiram allows you on play and on quest to banish one of your items to draw.
Yeah. I will pass turn.
Okay. Ready. Draw. I will pay. Do I ink? Do I want to ink? Yeah, I'm going to ink this Merlin shapeshifter. And I'm going to pay 3 to play Lawrence. This is 0/4 with 2 lore. While this character has no damage, he gets +4. And nothing is exerted, so I will quest for 4. The Prince is still in Bodyguard, taking me to 7, and pass.
This is getting out of hand very quickly. I'll draw. I guess it really comes down to what I want to do here. Unfortunately. So I first am going to eat Gaston. I'm going to pay 3 to banish my gumbo pot. It says banish chosen item of yours to deal 5 damage to chosen character.
Yikes.
To get rid of Lawrence.
Yep.
Because Lawrence is a problem. And then I will pay 2 for Sleepy, who enters play exerted, though he's not a bodyguard. And then that Prince resists 1. So Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I get to do a whole lot there. But I guess I will quest for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And go to 3. And then pass.
Okay. And what's the stats on that sleepy?
Sleepy is a 2/3 and it quests for 2.
Ready. Draw. Interesting. I am going to ink Kronk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay 3 for Prince Naveen, Penniless Royal, 4, 3, 1 lore. And then what? 2, 3, you said?
Yes.
2, 3. Okay. I think I'm going to go into Sleepy with Hercules and the Prince.
Okay.
And I will take 1 back for the Prince and 2 back for Hercules. I will quest the teacup and go to 8 and pass turn.
I could have taken out that teacup when I had the chance. It seems to be causing some issue. Okay. We've got some choices. I love a good choice. I'm going to eat Grumpy and play Gaston.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to look at the top 3 cards, put 1 into my hand, and put the rest on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Remind me of Gaston's stat line.
He is a 4/4.
4/4.
All right, put that into my hand. And well, what exactly am I doing here? I guess I'm just gonna quest for 1 and go to 4 and pass. Yay!
Hey. Okay. I'm gonna draw for turn. I have 5 ink. Okay. I will pay. Please don't hate me. I will pay 2 to play freeze to exert that Gaston.
Oh no.
And I'm gonna trade Prince Naveen into him.
Oh no.
And I will pay 1.
I'm never getting rid of that bodyguard.
And I'll quest for 4, going to 12.
Yeah, you are.
And pass.
If you must. What does freeze read?
Where did it go here? Exert chosen opposing character.
Yeah. That's a card. Forgot existed.
Same actually.
I'm going to pay 1 for a popsicle to draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to quest with Hiram, go to 5 to pop the popsicle to draw 2 cards.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I definitely.
And that's why Hiram's so great, right?
Yeah. I don't think he gets me out of this particular situation. But you know. What would you be able to quest for next turn?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Um. hmm, hmm. Well, there are options that I have. I'm going to pay 2 for Corella DeVille. She's a 3/2, and during my turn, she gains evasive.
Nice.
I'm going to then ink LeFou
Mm-hmm.
to play a queen.
Mm-hmm.
And um, yeah, that seems fine, right? Play a sleepy. Oh, only 2 for sleepy. Um, Sleepy enters exerted. Um, I have 1 card left in hand.
Same.
And that prince only's got 1, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'm going to quest with Owl to go to 6 and pass.
Hey. Ready, set, draw. I am going to pay 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 for a Merlin Goat, which when you play this character and when he leaves play, gain a lore. So I go up to 13.
Yeah, and the goat is a staple in almost every purple deck. Still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then how much will you quest next turn?
6.
And you're at?
6.
Okay. I'm just gonna quest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 18, and pass.
Well, that goat came in clutch.
Mhm.
I know what I need here. I did not get it. Can I remove the things on your board?
I think so.
I will. Take out the prince with Corella.
Mm-hmm.
I will take out the Hercules with Hiram.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that exerted card?
Tiana is a 1/3 and Chip is a 2/2.
Chip is a 2/2. Okay. I will take out Tiana with Sleepy and Owl.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or no, Sleepy and the Queen. And then I will trade the Owl with the teacup.
Indeed.
And then I will pay 3 for Judy Hobbs. Dopey.
Amazing.
Judy's ability, Don't Call Me Cute, whenever I play her, I can banish an item and its player gets to draw a card. It's like a mini Hiram, but can be used for both players. And then Dopey has Odd One Out, which is whenever this character is banished, your other 7 dwarfs characters get +2, which is cool. And then I pass to you.
Okay.
With a goat on board at 18.
I'll draw for turn. I will pay 3 for Benja. Benja's ability is when you play this character, you may banish chosen item, but nobody has any items. I will quest for 1 to 19 and pass turn.
Yep, you will. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is no way that I win now. But we're gonna make it fun. I'm going to pay 2 for a gumbo pot.
Mm.
I'm going to exert the gumbo pot to take 1 damage off of the queen. Then I'm going to have Hiram quest for 1. I'll go to 7.
Mm-hmm.
I will pop the gumbo pot to draw 2. And then I will play the knock. It doesn't matter. I cannot do anything but remove your goat. So I will quest for my pride for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go to 14.
Bet.
And then I will pass to you.
And I will quest to win.
Yeah.
Good games.
Yes. For those watching, the reason I didn't take out the goat is because the goat's ability is both when it enters and when it leaves. So the lock that I was in was I had to win the game that turn. And unfortunately, that was not possible.
Yeah. The goat was a very, very big part of that bounce package that Alex talked about earlier.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, great game. Showcase some of the cards that still get played today and some of their earlier iterations of gameplay.
Yeah, I wonder why Gaston came out of play. Just too easy to remove, you think?
It's whenever Along Came Zeus was printed,
Right.
it's an easy target, but also it's very expensive because it is a 6 cost uninkable.
Yeah.
And so while it has the shift ability, the deck that plays the other potential shift targets for Gaston are not generally decks that are going to also be using blue.
Mm-hmm. Benja and Lawrence. I mean, Lawrence sees a lot of play still. Benja sees some play still. The entire bounce package sees a lot of play still.
Yeah.
I did forget about Freeze too.
Yeah. That honestly, I think, took the tide of the game.
Yeah.
Because if I was able to keep my Gaston, I probably could have cleared board faster.
Much faster.
But that's okay. Good cards.
Yeah, it is a game of luck at the end of the day. Skill and luck, but luck. That draw will do you in or do it for you.
No, most definitely. I drew the most cards. So.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Wow. What riveting gameplay. I mean, but for real this time. Did y'all see Gaston get banished all because of Freeze? I don't know about y'all, but that was kind of cold.
Brr. I don't know. I feel like these frozen cards have been so powerful and so good throughout the entirety of this game. I'm excited to come across more of them.
Yeah, no, they really have. And honestly, I don't know about you, but when I'm watching Worlds this weekend, I am going to be paying attention to what cards from what franchises are actually being played. And in fact, you can tune in here or on our Twitch to watch with us as we restream the Disney Lorcana stream of the World Championship.
Remember, good or evil, every glimmer has a place, and so do you. See you next time on Rotten to the Lore.